Dear student, very good morning to all of you. As in my previous audio lecture on effective communication, I have already told you about the importance and how can we make communication very effective. During my previous two videos, I try to focus on that what are the essential and certain parameters to make the communication very good and fruitful for both sender and receiver. In the continuation of this third audio lecture, I am telling you 7 C's of communication and how these C's are important, and by the help of these 7 C's one can make his communication very important and correct and successful, as well as quality and result oriented for self as well as for the organization. So in the same continuation of it, first topic, I'm telling you completeness. What is completeness in the effective communication? Communication or completeness in communication is an essential factor for effective business dialogue. Incomplete communication irritates the reader, for it leaves him baffled. If wrong actions follow an incomplete message, they may also prove expensive. So, a message must be organized appropriately in the sense that it must include all the important ideals and its details. The contents of the message must be checked in order to verify that there is no omission of the relevant details. All the aspects of the message must be grouped and brought together in logical sequence to prepare meaningful thoughts units. The communication efforts can be more fruitful and effective if the receiver easily reacts to the reader's or sender's message. The successful business communicator provides complete message with all the necessary detail. When the message is fully understood, it becomes easier for the receiver to give prompt reply, but the receiver of the incomplete message feels angry, confused and irritated by it. The completeness adds to the clarity of the message. Clarity and completeness of message save time, money and energy of both the parties. Next is correctness. Business communication often leads to expensive operations, so you should be sure that you are transmitting correct facts in correct language. Business communication must be correct on various counts. It must be correct in tone and style of expression, spelling, grammar, format, contents, statistical information, stress, unstressed, annotation, pattern, etc. There should be any inaccurate statement in the message is avoidable. Efforts must be made to avoid the errors of typography, capitalization, spellings, punctuation, etc. The incorrect written documents lower the reader's confidence in the writer. In the same way, the incorrect statements and other miscellaneous errors of the speaker lower the listener's confidence in him, and it may tarnish his image and reliability too. When communication or dialogue receiver finds one error, he suspects that there can also be other error in the message. Then he starts searching for other mistakes almost automatically. Therefore, a businessman must give every detail correctly in his message. The errors in business message may bring down the status, profit, reputation, and goodwill of the communicator. The decisions taken by the businessman will be wrong and disastrous if he receives incorrect information from internal and external success. Therefore, it is essential that the sender should cross verify the correctness of the information before transmitting it to the receiver. And before accepting the information for important decision making, the receiver should clarify his doubts regarding the accuracy and correctness of the message. Third, concise and relevance. How communication should be concise and relevance to the topic oriented. Conciseness is an important factor in effective communication because reader's time invaluable. Don't make him feel that he is wasting his time in going through your unnecessary lengthy letter or listening irrelevant thing. It must say all that needs to be said and no more. The aimless verbiage, unnecessary details and heavy paragraphs make our communication ridiculous and ineffective. We must omit those words and sentences from our message which are not likely to bring good results. The message which can be expressed in fewer words is more impressive and effective than the message expressed in a number of words. It cannot persuade the receiver to take action if it bores him by its length and heaviness. The communicator must organize his message in such a way that every word in it is meaningful and of interest to the receiver. There should not be needless repetition of the same idea and words, even a single word or a sentence which does not contribute to accomplish the purpose of the communication should be carefully omitted. As time is precious in the business world, the businessmen do not have time to read irrelevant detail. Brevity, which is a part of conciseness, is desirable, but it must not be achieved at the cost of clarity and completeness. To be concise means both to be brief and to be complete. The message should be as short as possible, but it must consist of all significant ideas and necessary details. By conciseness, it also means that only relevant ideas should appear in as few words as possible. The message must consist of only those sentences which are related to a specific unit of thoughts. Next, dear student, courtesy and you attitude. This is also very important in communication when we are in organization, business, or in globalization of corporate sector or business in itself. In business, we must create friendliness with all those to whom we write. Friendliness is inseparable from courtesy. Our communication can be effective if we are courteous in our language and conduct. Courtesy can be defined as the considerate, friendly and sympathetic approach towards others. In order to be courteous in our language, the conduct, we must not become sarcastic, unfriendly, impatient and irritated. In business, the important objective of communication is to build goodwill by establishing better customer-company relationship. We can create the new customer and hold the present ones by our courtesy. By our courteous and thanking nature, we shall not only be able to create new friends in the business world, but we shall also be able to avoid enmity and worth of others. Courtesy is a matter of polite tone, good manners, and thanking nature. A courteous man either criticizes the other party for their mistake nor uses harsh and bitter words in his speech. He maintains goodwill by keeping you attitude in his mind and on his tongue. When the you attitude is kept in mind, the courteous tone naturally comes in written as well as oral communication. He wins the trust and reliability of the other party by promptly attending to their complaints and requests. Also, he wins their favor by using the sweet sounding words like thank you, please, etc. A manager cannot afford to ignore courtesy in his manners and etiquettes. While writing a business letter, the importance of courtesy does not need to be mentioned. We can say that a manager should not write a letter unless he is in a high frame of mind. In fact, when he is an irritated and perturbed status of mind, he is likely to write in an unfriendly and insulting manner. His discourse may be quite unintentional, but the reader will fail to realize that it was unintentional and unsought. We must remember that the receiver is primarily irritated in himself and in his vain. His own achievements, success, and well being is more important to him rather than those of his communicators. If he is a businessman, his main goal will be to make profit for himself. Therefore, our communication is effective only when we communicate from the receiver's point of view. Our message must be organized in such a way that it makes underlying appeal to the issues of his own interest. While organizing the message, we must not forget the truth that the receiver loves his name, his position, his property, his status, his fame, and his profits. By adopting the you attitude, a business communicator must look at the thing as the receiver does. If he does not review the things from the receiver's point of view, his arguments will not be effective. The word you is magnetic and highly effective in both the oral and written media of communication. The listeners, as well as the readers of the message, like themselves personally addressed by the communicator. We can make our communication effective and persuasive by using the word you as many times as possible. Next, we are coming the objective and realistic approach of the communication in business to make the effective communication. It is very essential for effective communication that the message should be objective, factual, and realistic, and it should exclude the emotional expression of the sender. The sender should not allow his opinions, attitudes, and emotions to distort the objectivity and factuality of the message, and at the same time, he should be aware of the feelings and responses of the receiver. Adequate care should be taken by the sender, and the information provided in the message does not mislead the receiver or hurt his feelings. A high level of trust and mutual respect between the sender and the receiver facilitates clear and objective communication. Organization of message. Various symbols are used to transmit the message to the receiver. The organization of message involves the selection of suitable media and the composition of message by the systematic arrangement of symbols. When a message is to be communicated through written media, the words, phrases, clauses, and the sentences must be simple and correct so that it may replicate the exact meaning to the receiver. Secondly, the handwriting, typing, or printing must be orderly, neat, attractive, and in suitable format. The sentence must be properly punctuated to bring clarity and to avoid ambiguity. The paper on which the message is written should have pleasant appearance. The appearance and the form of the letter is as important as the content of the message in it. While communicating or talking orally, the voice must be loud enough to be heard easily and clearly. We are to make use of the pause to stress some ideas. The tone must be confident, vibrant, and enthusiastic. The pitch of the voice should be suitable to the situation and to the content of the message. It is also essential that the message should be brief and concise. In face to face communication, the non verbal aspects of communication like eye contact, body posture, gesture, facial expressions, tone, silence, etc., are very effective in revealing trustworthiness, sincerity, intensity of the emotions, enthusiasm, etc., of the persons involved in the process of communication. Dear student, use simple and short words as well as sentences. Ensure that your message must consist of an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. The message can be organized in chronological pattern. The message consisting of the historical account and the description of process can be organized in a chronological order. The message can be organized in cause and effective pattern also. In this pattern, the communicator moves from the cause to effect or from the effect to cause. The third pattern of message organization is that of a spatial order. In it, the message is organized by space top, bottom, left, right, east, west, etc. It points out the similarities and differences between the items under the study. Problem solution pattern is often used in the business communication. It describes the problem, describes the solution, discuss the advantage and disadvantage of solution, and finally proves how the proposed solution is better than the other. Analytical pattern of message organization analyzes or divides the subject into parts and subparts. A well organized message is always systematic and effective. Next topic, dear student, we are coming proper selection and use of media and channel. How can we make proper selection of the media channel to make the communication very effective? We communicate on variety of media. The media available to him can be divided into four groups. Number 1, audio visual. Number 2, non-verbal. Number 3, oral. And number 4, written. Audiovisual communication includes television, video, cassettes, cinema, films. Visual communication includes gestures, facial expression, graphs, charts, diagrams, slides, posters, etc. The oral communication includes telephones, face-to-face communication, interviews, seminars, conferences, group discussion, meetings, speeches, etc. On the other hand, written communication includes a variety of letter, reports, memorandum, circular, telegram, minutes, questionnaire, etc. Before selecting the media, it is essential to him over its relative suitability in communicating the message. If the manager has to communicate certain directives to the departmental hand, it would be better for him to convey a meeting rather than talking with them over telephone separately. If he wants to inform common policies of the company to the employees, it is better to use circular notice board rather than announcing them in a public speech. When a manager is desirous to record the message for future reference, he may send a memorandum to assistant manager or to any other concerned authority in the company's hierarchy. He has to communicate with the local government officials also. He can get some clarification in certain matters by talking with them over telephone, but he has to communicate with the government authorities, insurance agencies, bank, etc., mostly through written correspondence. In educating and training the workers, audio-visual media is very suitable and effective. The manager can communicate with the general public through advertisement on television, videotapes, cinema, film, radio, newspaper, magazine. The silence also can be an effective media of communication. In certain circumstances, silence talks loudly when a willow blush and indicates her consent to the proposal of her lover. The proper selection and use of the communication channel is must for effective communication. A communication channel runs along with the hierarchical line of authority in every organization. The employees have to follow these prescribed channels if they are to communicate with one another. These prescribed channels are official for formal channel. It is almost obligatory to select a proper channel and avoid the regulations associated with it. They are ground in four divisions: upward, downward, vertical, and horizontal for effective communication. The downward channel is used by the supervisors to give directives to the subordinate, to assess the appropriate their work, and to explain the policies of the organization to the concerned employee. This channel can be effectively used if efficient care is taken to avoid under communication and over communication. The upward channel is useful in passing necessary feedback and constructive suggestions by the subordinates to their superiors. It can be effectively used in the employees do not have the vow of authority. Both the channels are ineffective if the hierarchy is ignored and the authorities are bypassed. The vertical channel is the combination of the upward and downward channel. The horizontal channel is effective when it is used for promoting friendship, understanding, cooperation, and coordination among the equals. The horizontal channel is found most effective through oral media. The written media seems to make them status conscious. The grapevine is an informal channel of communication which spreads in any direction. It does not follow any set pattern of the formal channel. The formal and informal ways of communication must go hand in hand in every business organization. The unplanned informal channel of the communication are convenient for many people to interconnect them for a variety of reasons. Informal communication is essential in the organization because it brings people closer together and help them to share their work experience and common problems among themselves. But if the group which had come closer by informal communication does not trust management, the morale of the organization is threatened. The formal communication brings about some obligatory discipline by its network, which sets the lines of communication with the lines of authority as they are structured by the management. The message passes formally and slowly from the managers to departmental heads to supervisor, etc. And the communication links between the positions are maintained. But in the organization, when the people work near each other and share each other's experiences, the problems, they are likely to come together for common purposes. When they come together, the informal group is formed. In order to coordinate and control such groups, the informal channels are perhaps more effective. Patience in listening and attentiveness. Dear student, I will tell you this in my next audio lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you all.